So while everyone is happy about Ukraine aid being passed in the House, an undercurrent to all that is this question of why did Mike Johnson do this now? Like, we know you could have done it 6 months ago. You didn't do it then, and then you pushed back and pushed back. So we're speculating here. We don't really know what's in his mind. Nobody does. And anyone who says that they actually know what's in his mind are they're not mind readers. They're lying. But we can speculate about a couple of maybe a half dozen or so potential reasons. And these reasons are important because if you get them right, you can predict what's happening next, what will happen when it goes to the Senate. So the first thing is the discharge petitions. I think, and it seems pretty fair, that as the discharge petition number started filling up, that led to increased pressure. We didn't get to the point where he had to pull the trigger just because the discharge petition was going to make him look weak, but it was adding extra pressure. Okay, counterbalancing that, you had the motion to vacate that Marjorie Taylor Greene had put forward but didn't actually place on the floor yet to be voted on. But that was kind of hanging like a sword of Damocles over his head. And so don't do this or else. So there's the discharge petition and the vacate. Then you had this meeting with Trump a week ago. And that meeting with Trump seemed to change his tune. But we don't know enough about the meeting with Trump to know like what actually happened there. Did he persuade Trump? Did Trump persuade him? What was going on with that? We just don't know, and we can only speculate. There's another speculation that Trump didn't have, and I can't prove this. If somebody can find that this is true, I would really like to see if this actually happened or not. Trump has not had intel briefings for some time, but as a prospective would-be president started getting them. Somebody mentioned that somewhere, and I don't know. But if Trump just started getting this, and remember Mike Johnson from the time that he became speaker was starting to get these intel briefings where he wouldn't have had them before. If Johnson actually knows this is a bad deal, like what's going on in Ukraine, it's very bad and we need to address it. And Trump has just gotten started doing that, and they just met. Maybe they're comparing notes. I don't know. Or maybe Trump's realizing, oh, this is a bad issue. We have to do something about this because he's seeing intel that he wasn't seeing before. And so that could have changed a tune. I don't know. I think what happened with Israel was clearly a motivating factor. I don't know anyone would argue against that. Israel is heavily supported by the United States. And so in a weird stroke of irony, Iran attacking Israel leads to faster delivery of aid to Ukraine to fight Russia. I mean, it's almost hard to follow, but weirdly, Iran may have been one of the leading causes here. There's also the possibility that polling could have caused this. I mean, politicians act and react to political forces. And Trump knows he's going to a general election. And it's really not like you have the rift within the Republican Party with MAGA being anti-Ukraine, but the rest of the party's not anti-Ukraine and pro-Ukraine. And then you have the moderate middle, and then you have the left. Don't worry about the left. He's not going to get those votes anyway. But he needs to pick up as many moderates. When you are in a primary, you tend to run to the right wing or left wing, whichever side you're on, right? When you're in the general election, you tend to run toward the middle, and maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's what's at play. I don't know, but it could be. Then another little extra twist. Jake Bro was on the Shills yesterday, and I was watching that, and he said something about how we don't know what happened with the David Cameron meeting. And it looked like nothing good came out of it, or there was nothing useful out of it, but maybe David Cameron had some kind of impact on him. We just don't know these kinds of things. Last week on him on Trump, which then might have led to Trump with Johnson. We just don't know, but we're speculating. What we're not speculating about is that you're starting to hear a different tone coming from Republicans like Lindsey Graham. And you'll see that in my three big stories tonight. Lindsey Graham talking about how, well, Trump was the one that really pushed this thing forward. We're grateful to Mike Johnson, and we're grateful to him working together with the Democrats in a bipartisan way. But thank goodness that Trump was, supporting this kind of thing. Like, wait a minute. Trump is supporting this. So now, if Trump is supporting this, that means it's going to go much better in the Senate than what it has done in the House for the last 6 months. And it's good to understand and be aware of that. But why he would be supporting it or holding his tongue about, because if Trump was not supporting it, you would have heard all kind of vitriol from Trump about this, 100 tweets in the last 2 days or something along those lines, right? But if he is supporting it, it'll get a lot more traction or at least pass through without many hindrances. Okay, so there we are. I'm not sure that I gave you any answers, but if you have any answers, please put them in the comments below. I would love to hear them. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.